session. As you know, this session or rather this contest is the only contest which is going to go up to the international level. We have a person who is an executive vice president, chief people officer, and its places and process as Time Pro, a Times Group initiative. He was the founding director of Toastmaster International District 98 and served as regional advisor for Toastmaster International, covering 13 countries in the year 2020. Brilliant. He comes with a rich experience in the human resources function, spanning IT, BFSI, education, on logistic and business partnering. He was recognized by marketing in Asia as a stellar CXO and digital visionary in 2023. Distinguished Toastmaster Brillian is a speaker, mentor, and leadership coach and has worked with students, TEDx speakers, and CXOs. He volunteers for various causes and confirmed the Rex Karamveer Silver Award in the year 2023 for his volunteering services. He is a certified Gallup strength coach and has undergone a Dr. Marshall Goldsmith training for executive leadership coaching. William was nominated as one of the top 100 influential coaching leaders in India in 2023. You can all give a big clap now. He is known for his ability to create future leaders through effective coaching and mentoring. He has been recognized for his volunteer services, and Toastmaster International ranked him among the world's top 10 best leaders for the year 2015-2016. He's been very actively involved in delivering keynote, workshops, various sessions, learning sessions for various forums like Toastmaster, HR forums, college, universities. He has over 450 plus virtual or online engagement to his credit since April 2020. Oh, do you know that he is also a Bachelor of Electronics Engineering from University of Mumbai, postgraduate diploma in computer application and master in human resources management from University of Mumbai. He is an experienced collector and uses his observational skills to bring humor and fun in working and helping teams achieve stretch outcomes. Today, we have this young man, Toastmaster Distinguished, who is an active social media enthusiast, experienced collector who shares his learnings through Brilliant Tips Friday on his YouTube channel. Please help me welcome this young and rookie Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster, past Regional 13 Advisor, first Division District Director for the District 98. With you and I, DTM Brilliant, we will become 100. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Murali, district leaders in the house, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from whichever place you have joined us. Thank you for coming in today. And I truly admire and appreciate the District 20 leaders for conducting this session. Quite often, the core of contest, that is, how do we select the best person to represent our district or club area and division, is often overlooked. Thank you for having me over. It is my honor and privilege to share my learnings and experiences along with collective wisdom of people who have shared it with me. So let's begin. Just like everyone else, I'm assuming we are human beings, and human beings as judges will have emotions, and emotions always influence decision. And being a dispassionate judge is something which is assumed to be a mythical option. Imagine your right and left brain. How do you balance it, right? Sometimes you get so busy, you're not sure what to do, and one or the other ball drops. And this is where the training will help you understand what you need to do to avoid getting emotional, avoid getting biased when you are in the role of a judge. Please remember, as a judge, you're not a distinguished Toastmaster. You're not a public speaker. You're not anything else but a judge whose only role and responsibility, my dear friends, is to make sure that we give the best what we can. A quick question. I'm sure you would have seen multiple movies and you would have seen a courtroom drama. A lot of things that happen. But what are some of the key things that we need to remember when we are a judge? Yes, we do not judge court cases, but we judge contests. When it's a contest, it's important for us to be fair. Not fair as in our complexion, but fair in our behavior towards the contestant and the contest. I have always believed in a philosophy that every time you're a judge, you remove the person from the contest and evaluate how his or her speech has been. Many a times we get biased because, oh, I'm just taking names, don't feel offended. These are based on names that I see on the screen. Uh, oh, Vikram, I know Vikram. He's so good. He should be a winner. Oh, Yasser. Yasser has done fantastic. Let's give him a chance. We ensure that we are completely impartial. We do not bias. We ensure that we are completely impartial. It doesn't matter if Murli is my best friend. I should not be considering him favorably. If his speech merits consideration, that's the only thing that helps. And for judges, as I said earlier, balancing the emotion and the logic. Make sure you do it right. Make sure you're keeping the emotions aside and using the logic that is provided to you. And when it comes to judging, please remember the Lady of Justice, metaphorically. She is blinded because she wants to make sure that she doesn't get affected by who's on the other side. She just listens and makes sure that justice is served, there is balance, and the right decision is taken. As a judge, it's your responsibility, my dear friends, to make sure that it happens when you are in a contest. So, a quick question. I'm sure we've all been a judge in our some avatar or the other, maybe at a club level, at a, maybe a area contest or some other context outside of Toastmasters as well. If I were to ask the purpose of judging, you will be shocked and surprised by some of the responses that I have got from people. Many of them confuse judging with evaluation. I am not here to evaluate a person and help him or her improve. I am here for the purpose of selecting a winner. That is the core purpose of the judge. And keep this in your mind. You may want to, if any of you are Hindi movie buffs, you will remember a movie called Gajini, where the core anchor of the movie, the actor, tattoos everything on his body. So, select a winner is something which we need to tattoo all through. Your responsibility, my dear friends, and I'm saying this responsibility is because many a times we have seen speeches which do not merit recognition to move to the next level getting qualified. And that is where the role of a judge is important. You need to select the best person with the best content to represent at the level that you're judging. It could start at a club, it would end up at the finals of international speech contest. We need to make sure that we follow the rules and guidelines. Toastmasters as an organization is such a wonderful and beautiful organization that it has provided us with a lot of guidelines. It helps us make sure that we stay focused and don't get carried away. And it's important to remember that when we are judging, we are like race horses and not wild horses. In a race, we need to limit our vision and make sure that we are focusing on these guidelines that are provided by Toastmasters. So, as the contest chair would always say, let the speech contest begin. And that's when quickly people pull out their sheets and start making notes. I'm sure while we talk about confidentiality about judges, many a times because of logistics constraints, we get to know who the judges are, right? It's unavoidable. But what we need to do, if I am a judge, I need to ensure that I stay true to the role that I am playing, that is of a judge. My dear friends, if you ever get an opportunity to be a judge in any of the contest, Please go back and read the speech contest rule book every single time. There are changes that keeps coming in, and sometimes we may not be aware, and that can lead us to selecting a wrong speech or probably something which we should have avoided. It is important to refer to the latest. The one which we will be looking at today is July 2024 to June 2025 speech contest rulebook. Previously, there have been multiple versions, edits that have happened. It doesn't matter. I may have been a judge in a contest 5 years ago, and then these were permitted. Now, it may not. If you're not updated to the latest rules, it becomes a limitation for you. While during the briefing, the chief judge will provide you with basics, you need to be prepared. And that's a hallmark of a true judge. Irrespective of what methods and techniques you use, you do your due diligence by reading the speech contest rulebook. Please, please, please make sure you understand what are the current changes. It is critical for you as a judge to understand and learn about this. If you have any doubts, any clarifications that you require, you can reach out to the PQD office, you can reach out to the speech contest team, whatever works, but make sure that your source is right. Do not ask Brillian because Brillian has been a judge 3 years ago, right? We tend to get into that mode of asking person whom you're comfortable. I would encourage you to use the PQD's office and, if required, to the speech contest team. Some of the do's and don'ts which has helped me when I'm judging and in a contest after maybe COVID, when we are coming back to in-person meetings, these are some of the things which I feel we should keep in mind. This is critical. Beyond the club level, every contest will be in person. Yes, I know there are a lot of people who have multiple thoughts, but it doesn't matter. But as a judge, you should be aware and you should understand what are the new requirements that have been provided by Toastmasters International. Many a times, there are a lot of emotions, as I said at the start. And when emotions are flying high, people will come and say, hey, you know what? Vikram, brilliant speech has been drifted from this content. If Vikram is the judge, Vikram should not really bother about it unless Vikram himself feels that this is true. Many a times people come and try to nudge you and say, please go and raise a protest. Avoid getting into that mode. It is important as a judge to remain focused to the core of the role. One, you're supposed to be anonymous, right? So technically, no one should be in a position to come and tell you what to do. Let's say if it's Ajay who comes and tell me he's probably an area director and he says, what should I do? I should avoid. It doesn't matter what your role is. As long as a judge, you don't feel it, you should not consider any protests from the members in the audience. For the contest, irrespective of the role, other than the role players defined, everyone else is an audience member. Please keep that in mind. And remember, this is an interesting thing. Many a times during contest, there is a technical failure, right? We see mic dropping. We feel someone has probably clipped off the mic and there is no sound. And if you're a judge, it becomes difficult if you're in the last row. So by default, I encourage you, Toastmasters also encourages all of us as judges to stay close to the contest area, as close as possible. This will help you ensure that in case of any technical challenges, you're still able to hear the speech, make your own judgment, and you don't get carried away by the fact that you're not able to hear. This is critical, and I thought we should highlight this as well. Many a times we have a judging sheet, a portion below is given over to the pallet or the tally counter, and then you have the upper portion which you carry around always and say, hey, you know what, Patricia, in your speech, I found this. Please, please, please avoid sharing your judging sheet and comments. Please remember integrity, one of the core values that we have at Toastmasters. Once your role is over, you have no right to continue with that sheet. My suggestion is discard the sheet and destroy the working sheet immediately after the contest results are announced. It will ensure that there is no trail, right? As they say in the movie, there is nothing that will lead to say that Brillian was a judge or Murli was a judge or Yasser was a judge. Some of the resources, I'm sure each one of you will get this in a printed form thanks to the contest team, but it is always suggested that you go read these resources online. You may either be a judge or a tiebreaker judge. The difference between a judge's ballot and a tiebreaker's ballot is that for a tiebreaker, you will have to rank every speaker, whereas for a judge's role, you just need to highlight the top three, right? So it's very simple. The tie-breaking judge is not known to everyone. And I was thinking what happens in a judging process, and that's where I bring you to the most important part of judging, which is the judging ballot. If you see the beauty of this sheet, right, it says there are three sections in the first part, which is content, which takes about 50% of what the speech is all about. It starts with speech development, it is about effectiveness, and about the speech value. And if you look at the other side, and it's a suggested value point, which also gives you an indication of the weightage that it has. So, speech development ideally should have about 15% weightage. It's about how the speaker has been uh, effective, I would say, in putting together ideas so that it's easy for the audience to understand. Imagine an engineer delivering a session at a doctor's forum, right? If you are a judge, vice versa also, a doctor delivering session in an engineer's forum. You need to understand how things are, what is the structure. Let me tell you, it is not that the engineers will not understand or the doctors will not understand. But if you are able to put it effectively, organize and provide supporting material, you will do an amazing job. And that's what you need to remember when you rate the speaker on speech development. Because everything is so subjective, what is effective for me may not be effective for, let's say, Asha or for Ravia or for Nilanti. Why? Because each one of us have our own personal choices and preferences. And that is where Toastmasters has gone a step ahead to give you a detailed statement about what needs to be looked at. Don't just look at how you feel. Look around, observe how the audience is reacting. Are they receptive? Are there applauses coming in? Is there a laughter that comes up when there is a joke that is cracked? Make sure that while it is subjective, you are trying to be objective in assessing the effectiveness. We've all gone through this, especially when it comes to international speech contest. Many a times we have a sense that, you know what, I think I have heard this speech somewhere. Is it original? Is it something which you've not heard? Does it bring a sense of maybe uniqueness, a different logic to it? Right? We've heard time and again that there are cases of people who have gone through a bad time and then suddenly their life transformed. Most of these stories fall into that category, but still there is uniqueness, there is original thought. If I go back to Rachi's speech, I see something in you. People use it today, but at the same time, if I were to create something on similar lines, will that be original? And that is what I need to make sure when I am rating the contestants. Then comes the aspect about delivery, which is 30% of the weightage. It includes the appearance, the voice, and the manner in which it is delivered. Many a times we get carried away by the speaker's personality, right? Let's say, for example, I have someone who won multiple championships, is a TEDx speaker, has been at various forums. We believe that the person is amazing. But hey, here and now, That is what you need to assess. At that speech, when it is being delivered, how does the body language resonate? Does the speaker use the speaking area effectively? And again, there are elements where people would look at, is he or she dressed appropriately? Now, if, for example, if you look at a speech which is talking about marathons and the speaker is formally dressed, while I would not get carried away by that, but still, I would say I would have loved the person to be in a sports gear. That is what you need to assess from a delivery perspective. The voice is very important. And let me tell you, you don't need to scream out loud or try to do theatrics to become amazing. I've seen speakers who come and say, "Hey, have you done this?" And people are like, "Oh, wow, what happened?" He was never like this. But because he wants to win each contest, he changed his style. I don't think you need. The voice needs to support effectively how it is happening. The manner in which the message is conveyed. Is it direct? Is there enthusiasm? And is it giving me a comfort? Am I feeling happy about the speech or sad about the speech? Is there an emotional connect? That is what I need to look at. This is for all those who assess grammar during a speech contest. Not everyone is a native English speaker, right? So we will have our biases. Some of them may have a mother tongue influence on their language. The diction may not be proper. And many judges I have seen would mark the person down because the person cannot speak proper English. I would recommend otherwise. If you look at the grammar, pronunciation, and word selection, it is just about 10%. You need to make sure that you are being fair. It goes back to the core of what we discussed. You don't need to get into a mode to say, okay, this person was not able to share one single statement in proper English. Mark that person down. If you feel the grammar pronunciation was not good, mark that person down. Maybe you give them a rating of 2 or 1 or 0, depends on how you feel it. But again, look at the speech in totality. Don't let one aspect create an effect which biases and creates a halo effect for you to say, oh, this person will not be able to take it forward. Irrespective of what aligns with you, always keep an eye on the audience. How is the audience reacting? Is there any movement in the audience? Do you see the audience going, oh, wow, this is something I get engaged to? That is what you need to look at rather than get carried away by a single element of the speech. As judges, we've always signed the code of ethics, but I want to remind you of some of these. Right? At every single point of your journey as a judge and post finishing your duties as a judge, uphold the core values: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. With integrity being the core focus for all of you. Be emotional, but at the same time, stick to what the ballot requires you. Be objective and avoid any kind of bias. Make sure that if, for example, you are a part of area X and you have a contestant from area X, you're tempted to give that person a higher ranking to see that person win. No, please don't do that. You are doing a disservice to not just the entire process, but also to the members of District 20. Even if it's at a club level, it's a disservice to the district and therefore a disservice to the World Championship speakers who may come up at a later stage. Do not consider any of these elements. I'll not get into details of it, but it doesn't matter. As I said, I may be XYZ, I may be ABC, but once I am a speaker in a contest, the only thing that you will judge me is on the performance here and now. My speech, what I am outside of the speech contest, should not be of any matter or consequence to you. I may have done 10 TEDx speeches. I may have been a Harvard School alumni. I may have been blah, blah, blah. Let it not bias you. Many a times judges keep looking at the timer saying, oh, timer has not yet flashed the cards. The timer has flashed the red cards. He may have gone it. Oh, since anyway he is getting disqualified, let me not give him a good mark. Right? It is a bias that happens. There is a possibility that in the grace period, the person may still end up being qualified. So don't judge based on time. Let the timer do his or her job. Make sure that you will use the ballot to select the winner. Everything else in accordance with the speech contest rule is important. And these are some of the elements which we have already taken care of. Make sure that you're not a mentor. And I want to highlight this because many a times people come to you saying, hey, Osama, can you be a mentor to my speech? He says, okay. And the person goes through to the next level, and Osama is a judge. I'm just taking names, as I said, for people who I can see on screen. I would suggest please don't do that. If you have a mentor, politely decline the offer to be a judge. I have been invited to be a judge recently, and I have two people who have reached out for me to mentor them. Ethically, I have to decline it because I would again do a disservice because I'll keep comparing, saying, oh, I have a speaker here who's my mentee. I want him or her to win. So there are a lot of things that we've looked at, and I would say, don't judge me by my looks, whether it is formal, casual, having fun. It's all about, am I the right contestant to represent your club, area, division, or district at the next level? If I am, judge me and make sure you select me as a winner. If I am not, make sure you select the best person to represent. Thank you so much for having me over and inviting me to be a part of this session. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You can reach out to me anytime you feel the need. I'm more than happy to have a discussion and share my experience and lessons with you. We may learn something in this journey together. Thank you, District 20, for inviting me over back to the Master of Ceremonies. Thank you so much.